We're live once again on Grid Vision for some more Spartans Master Series action here on this fine Tuesday evening. Thanks for joining me, Austin Edstrom, standing alongside Joe LaCastro and Taylor Burris in the production booth today to watch some fantastic road course racing here for the Spartans Series. We're going to be taking on the Circuit of the Americas over in Austin, Texas. Typically an F1 track, but we've NASCAR'd it up this year with a little bit of a different layout that these drivers are going to have to get used to. Joe, do you got any experience here at COTA?
You know, I think I might have run it one time. Now, there's multiple configurations to this track, right? There's different ways that it can be laid out, and I think that are we using the shorter of one of the layouts here this week?
Yeah, you see, like right after the S's up there, we're taking that left-hander. Oh, bad time to cut away. But either way, we're taking the left-hander at the very end of the S's. So it's gonna be a lot different. Maybe we can get the overhead shot here and kind of get a bird's eye view.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, over on the left side, it's kind of hard to see the cut through, but you can barely make it out in between the end of the S's It's going to be right in the middle of the racetrack right now, and it just cuts off the entire back straightaway and a good portion of the end of what would be Sector 1, beginning of Sector 2. If you're taking the normal F1 layout that NASCAR has been driving at the last couple, or in the last couple seasons, but this year changing it up a little bit, and it's still not the right layout that they're using in real life. They're using a different cut across to the back straightaway in real life, so yay, I guess. I don't really know the reasoning behind that, but we're getting a different show on iRacing than we will be in real life this week. And nonetheless, Joe, I'm looking forward to getting this one kicked off. Do you have any keys here? I don't know if I should ask you for your keys, considering you've only ran at COTA one time ever. So I don't know if your keys are going to be too great. But can you think of any keys off the top of your head?
Off the top of my head, I can think of a couple of things. Just, in general, road racing, it's a different discipline. I guess that would be key number one. We've been kind of grinding the ovals for a while, getting back here to a road course. It's a bit of a different discipline. You're going to have to be more patient with passing. You're not going to be, pushing and finding those areas where you can make the pass. There's pre-designated spots here on this kind of course where those passes can happen. And seeing how they get around that and learn how to drive, make some right turns every once in a while is going to be interesting. I guess for number 2, we've got 60 laps out of this race, so patience is key. But I would say get up front and stay up front. If you can get a good lead, if you can get a good gap going, we could have a lot of green flag racing here. This is the kind of thing where a yellow flag is not going to come out just because a couple of cars are crossing the track at the back. You're not going to come back around fast enough to make that a problem. So, get out in front and stay out in front. And key number 3 is take everything I say with a grain of salt, because I'm kind of shooting from the hip here.
I was wondering whenever that was going to come in. But you'd mentioned one point about the passing zones. In all seriousness, from my experience, I ran a couple races last night. It's really just turn 1 where you have a really, really good opportunity to pass somebody, get a better run out of the last corner, get yourself side by side or close to it, and throw a dive bomb down to the bottom of 1. Everywhere else, it's difficult, man. I mean, you can get done in a couple different sections, a couple different corners. But in all seriousness, the easiest is turn 1, and then after that, it's a struggle. It's a struggle to get side by side in these cars with, the immense amount of dirty air that they actually do give off. You can feel it even at these slower road courses, and I'm telling you, just following someone through these slower kind of mid-speed sections on this racetrack, it can feel sluggish. It can feel like a lot of work, and it'll be difficult to get up to the car in front of you tonight unless they make a mistake. That's going to be the name of the game tonight, I think, is going to be who makes the least amount of mistakes while still being quick. So I'm thinking, the guys that are probably the best at it are going to be qualifying up towards the top. This is a long course. It's maybe a lot of corners. Hard to not have a 1X by the end of your qualifying lap. So if you can do that and start up front, I got to imagine you're probably one of the better road course racers in the series. So I'm looking at Johan Seminario, Lou Christian, Joseph Kazi up in the top 3. They're all just about on top of each other with their lap time, all within a tenth of a second of each other up at the top of the board. So if you're looking for someone to win the race, I got to say it's probably one of those 3. And that's why my pick is going to be Johan Seminario. Joe, who are you picking for this one?
What's funny? Before you even said anything, I was going to probably give it to Seminario, but then you mentioned Lou Christian's name, and I've seen him at road courses before do some amazing things. I've seen Scott Healy at road courses do some pretty amazing things too. So I think I'm going to actually stick with my guns on this one. My gun said Seminario, but I'm going to go with Lou Christian as my pick.
That's a good pick. Lou blew my doors off last night whenever I was trying to get this place figured out. So I think that's a pretty good pick. And I felt like I was even with Johan, so I'm actually surprised Johan has qualified in front of Lou. But nonetheless, let's see. Does our broadcaster have a pick? Or our producer, Mr. Burris? Who are you picking tonight? He's going with the 43, Chris Hudson. That's a pretty decent pick, too. I feel like you got to start up front. I know we got cautions here tonight. One with the stage yellow, and then if we have a certain X limit reached, which I guarantee you we will here at COTA, get that X limit reached with how easy it is to get off tracks. So we'll reach the X limit and get a caution at some point in stage number 2, I would have to think. So, you can kind of start 15th, I suppose, and work your way up slowly through those yellows. But I really think the guys that start up front are going to basically stay there all night unless they make a catastrophic error.
Yep, I think you're absolutely right. And we've only got, I think it's 21X gets you a DQ here, and we're doing 60 laps. So the possibility, how many cars do you think are going to get DQ'd? Yeah.
Wait, is it really 21X?
That's what it says here.
I see incident count, DQ limit, no limit.
Oh, okay. I'm looking
on
at race day
iRacing.
announcement. Oh, okay.
Well, on iRacing it's different. They might have a different
That's fair. I'm looking at the race day
plugin or
announcement
something.
from the SSRL Discord here, and I heard a little bit of discussion in the Discord earlier about the incident limit. So there is definitely some talk amongst the drivers tonight about staying on the track, and some concerns that potentially going off the track, iRacing might be playing things a little sensitive, and might be calling it, giving you those 1Xs when you're just a little bit off the track or in a zone that's just not quite where you're supposed to be. So I know the drivers are going to have that in the back of their mind as they're driving tonight with only on paper a 21X. So we'll see how things go.
Yeah, I think it's a separate plugin that's actually taking care of that rather than the iRacing side. So the
Okay.
DQ limit being set to no limit in iRacing might be a little bit different, I think, than what they're doing in the league. Because like you said, in the Discord, 21X would be a disqualification. And I'm going to tell you right now, that is harsh. We ran 30 lap A opens last night, and it was hard. It was hard not to cross the 17X in 30 laps. We got double that amount of time. 22 cars on here with restarts tonight rather than, just a full green flag out session. So I'd be leaning to bet, 22 cars. I bet you 5 people get DQ'd if we have a 21X limit. If not more.
Over under says 5. I'll take those odds. Actually, I'll give you, just to stay competitive, I'll say 4, just because it's going to be on the guys' minds. But you never know with a little bit of bumping here and there, things getting competitive. It's going to add up, and by the time we get close to that 60 lap mark, you're going to start to see the heat here, with the fear, I should say, build up behind some of these guys. I wish I had a little ticker here that showed me exactly how many incidents each driver was at. That'd be great.
Yeah, unfortunately, we can't just tell as spectators. Well, I say
Yeah.
that. You hit the entries button on the bottom left, and actually you can see what they have. So
Oh, nice.
yeah. So we actually can keep track of that. So that's something we'll keep our eye on throughout the entire race. See if they're actually turned on, because we believe they are. And I would be hard pressed to say they're not. But whew,
Yeah.
it being that low kind of worries me. And that it doesn't sound like it's a super low number, but man, this track's easy to get X's at. It really, really is easy to run 2 wheels wide, 2 wheels narrow, just a little bit too far, and getting that 1X. And then on top of that, if we're all stacked up on each other for the restarts, getting 4X's down into 1, makes me a little bit more worried. So I'd be willing to bet on a couple disqualifications here tonight. I like you going under me, though. That makes me feel a little bit more
Just
comfortable. You have
just
a
a
little bit more
little
faith
bit.
than I do, though.
Yeah, I usually do. Call me a wishful thinker, but even I know that reality of these kind of tracks just comes up and bites you, no matter what you're thinking or the best you're driving. You could be driving the best running your night, and you just go over the line, or your line gets pushed wide for something. Your tires get a little hot. So yeah, this is going to come up and bite more drivers than we can expect it to.
Who's most likely to get disqualified for you?
Is he in this race tonight? Kazi.
See, that's who I was kind of leaning towards. Like
I don't know.
but I don't
He
know.
likes to race hard.
He does race hard, but I don't know if he's going to go for all these 1Xs. I think he's going to be good enough to keep it between the lines, and I really think it's going to be like a 1X thing where you're pushing the car too hard in certain areas. I feel like Kazi has the road courses on wrap pretty good, so
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be leaning towards Joseph tonight. Honestly, I was thinking Justin. I think he's going to have a hard time keeping the car on the track, not getting the 1Xs. And there's a couple others in here that I think we'll definitely have a hard time through the S's, through that little infield section. But man, I don't know. Somebody's going to be pushing a little bit too hard and get behind on the X's early.
Yep, I think you're right, and we're going to have a chance to see who's been doing some practicing. I know that we've got a few people sitting out this week potentially because they didn't get a chance to practice, and this is the kind of course you want to have time to practice on.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want to come into a road course, any road course, blind really, but especially not the Circuit of the Americas. Circuit of the Americas. Don't want to come into that blind. It is a tricky course.
Well, nonetheless, the warm-up is finally over, so we're going to jump into our starting grid because, well, we're getting ready to go here from the Circuit of the Americas. Johan Seminario up on the front row, up on the pole with that American background. Gotta love it. Lou Christian starting in the second place position on his outside. Starting on row number 2 is Joseph Cosley in the 88 and Reese Schaefer in the number 97. Hopefully Reese decides to be a little bit more aggressive than we saw last week at Atlanta. Starting on row number 3 is going to be PB Henry in 5th and Scott Healy in 6th. Chris Hudson in the number 43 starts in the number 7 position with Kyle Gerlach in the number 75 on his outside in 8th. Pat Harvey in the number 76 and Charles Van Schack in the 00 are going to round out your top 10 here tonight.
Let's keep it rolling. In 11th place, that's Robert Besaw. 12th, it's going to be Sammy Harrell. 13th, Christoph Hall. 14th, Adam Pettit. On the inside, 15th, Cody Riggs. 16th, Mark Sanchez. 17th, Art Nicotera. 18th, Evan Ethel. And 19th, Justin Levine. 20th, Kevin Zosiak.
Rounding out the field here tonight, we got Kyle Westwood in the number 92 and Jordan Sailors in the number 1 at the very back of the field here. Did not lay down qualifying laps, but nonetheless, we are going to get this thing kicked off and ready to go. It looks like our top 18 laid down a qualifying lap. Everybody behind 18th includes Levine, Zosiak, Westwood, and Sailors, the 4 that did not put down a time. Honestly, I'm impressed from the rest of the field that we had 18 out of the 22 be able to keep the car on the racetrack for both laps. I'm telling you, even with the colder tires, or especially with the colder tires, it's tough to get this thing rotated where you want it to and not get on the gas just a little bit too early, run it just a little too wide in some of these really, really, really tight apexes. It'll be tough, and it'll be interesting to see who can get through the first couple laps spread out with a clean race car and a clean slate in terms of the incident level. So we'll keep our eye on that all night.
Here we've got a few eyes on the guys as they get the tires warmed up. Always wonder, I think I've asked you before if it's a Mythbusters kind of thing, if warming up the tires in iRacing has as much effect as it does in real life. And I believe it feels still like the issue's kind of split to me, but you think you're pretty sure it does?
Oh, absolutely. Tire warming is absolutely a thing. The best teams do some crazy tire warming strats on the warm-up lap at some of these places, but nonetheless, no tire warming here. We're coming down to the line, cold tires, first time tonight. The green flag getting ready to go in the air from the Circuit of the Americas. Johan Seminario up on the pole. He's gonna lead us down to the green flag. We're racing, and Joseph Gozzi already making it 3 wide before we even take to the stripe. Down into turn number 1, Joseph Gozzi just with a huge dive bomb to Johan, catching me off guard all types of completely. And he's going to overshoot turn 1. Joseph Gozzi completely going through. It's up picking up second place. Going to squeeze just in front of Lou Christian, but Johan is gone.
Yep, he's out in front, and he's already got that early lead. Like we said, you want to get out early, stay out early. Gozzi, what a ballsy move early into that turn 1 with cold tires.
Yeah, he just made the huge dive down to the bottom. Did not brake where he needed to. He might have had that position if he just broke at the same time as Johan, right? He was just about side by side completely. I mean, he was getting there, and he just overdrove the corner ever so slightly. Still picked up a spot out of it, though. Could have been a whole lot worse. Most of the field single filing out throughout. Lou Christian, though, hanging on to the 4th place spot. He kind of got held up behind Gozzi coming out of turn number 1, and I believe it's hurt Christian the most. He went from starting second on the outside of the front row to now back in 4th place, and I think he's got a little bit more speed than 4th place.
Just a little bit, yeah. He's working on it as best he can. Christian can close that gap. I think he's just got to find his line. The line has been found early on by Seminario. He knew what he was doing. He's been here before. Gozzi also knew exactly how to throw that car around. But now around the 3rd, 4th place spot, or I guess the 4th place spot, this is where I want to see the guys who were just sort of biding their time a little ways back on that start. I want to see the aggression come out early.
Full field single filing through the last corner here on lap number 1. Still got 59 more of them to go here tonight. Kyle Westwood around the outside of Art Nicotera to the second to last corner. Art having a big time struggle. Did he have an issue maybe a little bit before that? Not too sure. Nonetheless, Art gonna fall back to the 19th place spot. Johan continuing it up through the S's, and well, he's actually gained on that lead over Joseph Gozzi ever so slightly. Couple tenths in it per, I'd say, sector, to be honest. The last lap or so, Gozzi's been a little bit quicker. just kind of hovers around that 1.1 to 1.5, kind of ever changing here. Every single corner being a little bit different, although Johan having some internet connection issues, as he's been known to do.
Yeah, we've seen in the last couple of races, Johan has started blinking a little bit here and there, and people have started to give him some distance. Now, he's pretty far away from the pack right now, so it's not going to cause too much trouble. But it's got to be in the back of Kazi's mind also. Is Johan going to blink himself right off the course? Now, that won't be a problem for Kazi, obviously, but the reaction to it could be a problem. Or if he blinks and ends up trying to recover his situation, ends up getting into the nose. So it's just a consideration, something to keep in the back of your mind. It's, even if the guy in front of you is a little ways ahead of you, that blinking can the savings can get passed on to the consumer.
Definitely distracting if you're the driver of the number 88, though. Just seeing him blink in and out, just a second up your windshield every couple of seconds. I mean, it's a little off-putting. It can definitely kind of mess with you a little bit. And honestly, I think it has messed with Joseph. I think on that lap he got 2 X's. You know, he had a couple wide wide issues.
There, and I think iRacing is changing it so that if you start blinking too much, don't you get sent back to the pits?
Yeah, but I feel like that was probably not enough for Johan to get sent back to the pit. I don't know. I don't know how they have it tuned. It'll be interesting to see just how aggressive it is. You know, I'd hate for somebody that's just blinking every once in a while to get completely shucked to pit road. But I mean, I get it. I don't know. It's kind of a weird scenario. Hopefully they tune it the right way, but nonetheless, Johan lucking out for now that it's not implemented because he is still hanging on to that race lead. But Kazi looks ever so slightly quicker. While we wait for Kazi to see if he can close that gap, we're going to check out our replay system here. Kyle Westwood coming through the S's a little bit too wide there. Just tries to miss the curb and ends up spinning it out through the last couple corners there. Probably going to be an issue we see a handful of times tonight. I believe Art Nicotera also had a bit of an issue. Taking a look at the 77, coming back down onto the back straightaway towards the hairpin at the end of it. Ooh, maybe overshooting the braking point. Oh yeah, definitely overshooting the braking point, and that's going to be a 1X going off, but no harm, no foul. Ultimately didn't spin it or anything. And now Evan Ethel. Go figure, these guys all running 18th, 19th, 20th, all of them having issues early.
Same spot here. Watch this.
Brake too late. He kept it on the track. I'm surprised that it gave you a little ping for that. I suppose you hit a certain speed and it messes it up. Nonetheless, Adam Pettit on the next one, coming down to 1. So this one a little bit different. See exactly what happened to the number 60, running in the 9th place spot.
Oh, here's the weight transfer on this hill.
Woo, just completely overdrives that thing. Ends up losing these 2 spots behind him. So something else must have happened to him afterwards, because he is running behind Levine at this point. So actually, I think he's only lost 1 of these spots, because B-Saw's still in 10th. So I know something else must have happened to Adam, or he got into a little bit of a fight with Levine and one other car here. But nonetheless, going back to Lou Christian, who has taken over the 3rd place spot over PB Henry. I told you, Lou's just a little bit quicker than 4th. I think he might actually have something for Johan or Kazi. It's just in this first stage, getting separated like this is a little bit frustrating. Biggest mover so far tonight, though, Justin Levine in the number 1. Didn't get a qualifying lap in. Started, 19th? He's up to P8 so far. So good night from Justin.
Yeah, fantastic drive so far. Early on, just avoiding any early mistakes, getting around some of the guys who have been sliding a little bit. Now, the sliding hasn't been too intrusive that we've seen into the line for any other drivers, but this is the time for Justin Levine to shine, and he's the only Charger in the double digits right now. So, keep going.
Woo. Maybe a little wide there for Justin out of the second to last corner. Might be another X on the board. Unfortunately, we can't track the incidents. I don't know why we could during the warm-up, but we can't now. So we're just gonna have to wait for the driver chat to let us know whenever people hit the warning. At least it's a 17X warning. So I think I'll get notified at that point. But nonetheless, I do think some of these guys are already pushing the limits just a little bit too much. Wouldn't be surprised if we got some guys already nearing the 5 to 6X range.
I wouldn't be much surprised either. We got 20 laps to go until the end of stage 1, and these tires and these tanks are going to demand some pit stops here. I'm not sure exactly with how long Coda is, where those pit stops are going to come into play lap-wise, but at some point the strategy is going to come into play, and Seminario, Kazi, Christian, the boys up in the front, they're going to have some decisions to make.
And I doubt we can make it all the way to the end of stage number 1 on 1 tank of gas. 25 laps in stage 1. I know we
I
run
doubt it
significantly less fuel. I think we can make it 33 laps on a full tank, so I highly doubt that we're making it tonight on the shorter tank that we run. So we're gonna have a pit stop in stage number 1. Do you take tires under the initial pit stop? Do you wait until under the caution? I would personally probably do it under green. Say screw the stage points. I want my track position. But you know, especially for somebody like Levine who's coming through the field. You know, maybe you pick off 2 or 3 guys because you don't take tires into the stage. Yeah, you'd have 2 or 3 lap older tires, but bam, 4 free positions or something on the restart. I'd be interested to kind of keep an eye on the strategy coming down to the end of this one.
If it was going to be I absolutely agree with you. If it was going to be the one pit stop that I made during this stage and it was under green, I would absolutely take tires. I got 4 in the pits. I don't expect a yellow. I expect this to be my pit stop. I take the tires. I keep the track position. Don't push it. Don't be conservative. Just stay competitive early on and find a spot that you're going to live in for the second half of that race. And the only way you're going to do that is if you stay on top of the tire strategy. Look at all these weight transfers.
PB Henry hanging on to the 4th place position from Scott Healy, coming down through the infield kind of section. I guess I'd call it little twisty turny bits. PB Henry running a little wide through the double right and then switching back. Oh. Scott Healy going for a late dive down to the inside. He's going to get his nose there. Can he get on the throttle on exit? Not going to be able to do it. That's a tough pass to complete because you just know you got like a quadruple right coming up after that. Good luck if you're stuck on the outside there.
Yeah, you could see Scott Healy just burning off all the momentum, trying to stay on the inside of that double left. And after he lost all that momentum, any attack that he had on PB Henry was just kind of evaporated. He's going to have to build that back up, find his spot. Here comes the move now. He's down on the inside. He's looking for it on this turn. He's got the momentum this time. He's still got it by about a nose. They're side by side going down the straight toward the start-finish line here. Nope, not quite side by side. That's going to be Scott Healy slotting things back in behind PB Henry. You said turn 1's the place to do it, right?
It is, but he lost too much momentum down the front straightaway. Chris Hudson actually gets closer to Healy here than he did to PB. PB might have missed the corner a little bit too, but PB just didn't get a good run through that penultimate corner. He got way too wide, got a 1X, had to slow down pretty significantly coming out of the corner to not get a slowdown penalty. And unfortunately, Scott Healy could not get it done, could not complete the move anyway after he kind of caught a bit of fortune, right, with PB missing that corner. You know, that's your opportunity, that's your chance to clear, but coming down the front straightaway, not enough aggression from Scott Healy, I'd say. I'm shocked he didn't throw a harder side draft, really try to pull PB Henry back down the front straightaway so he could dive him down into 1. He was almost content with running in 5th right behind him for now.
Now, he's a fast driver for sure, but I wouldn't peg Scott Healy as the kind of guy who's I guess aggressive is the right word, but he's not going to risk the cars for the move. If he sees the move, he's going to take it. But I don't think he wants to contact anybody right now.
Healy diving it back down to the inside. PB running a way wider line. Here coming back up.
Ooh.
Whoa, what were you saying about Scott Healy?
Well, hey, did you see his brakes? They were cherry red.
Yeah. He got on the brakes pretty heavy to avoid, you know, completely running them over, but definitely ran into him that time.
He did. You got me there. He did almost run through PB Henry completely after I said he wasn't going to try to hit anybody. But his brakes were glowing. They were glowing. You could tell he didn't want to hit him.
Oh. Bit of a camera angle malfunction right there. I don't quite know what to tell you about that. Either way. Chris Hudson doing a good job up in 6th place too, keeping the pressure on Scott Healy, who's keeping the pressure on PB Henry. Starting to get some separation now between Healy and Henry, so I think Healy might have just overheated those tires ever so slightly with the battle, and now he's kind of in the yo-yo effect, falling back to Chris Hudson. It really feels like it's not tire wear with the next gen cars; it's how much heat is put into the tires. And if you slide them a couple too many times. Good luck getting that heat back down to where you can kind of go aggressive again. It takes a couple laps to really get the tires cooled back down, and even then you might do it wrong, right? It's a difficult process to kind of go under, and you got to make sure you don't lose too much speed cooling them back off, or else you're just going to lose another spot, and we've all seen how hard it is to pass.
Exactly. My brain's just doing backflips thinking, how do I cool these tires down while still staying competitive in the race and not just handing seconds back to my competitors and losing seconds on my lap times, and it's making my head spin. But Chris Hudson has definitely been aggressive.
It's getting really feisty for the lead down to the last corner. Joseph Ghazi just dove Johan through the last corner. He got clear. They're side by side down the front straightaway. Two teammates going at it at the front of the field. Kazi has completely caught Johan, and he's going for it down to turn number 1, but he's stuck on the outside. He's going to try to pull the over-under. Johan going narrow. How narrow is too narrow, though, for the 56? Going to track out really, really wide. Kazi going to go back down to the inside. That was not a good corner from the 56, and that's going to be Joseph Kazi up to the race lead. Heck of a move. Pulled a little bit of a dummy there on his teammate.
Yeah, you saw Seminario went narrow. He went to the inside of the turn, but then he really cooked off those brakes. He had a lot of car to slow down, and when you lose the weight, when you get to the top of that hill and you lose your braking power, even if you have yourself hard on the brakes, that car is going to slide. He took everything in him to keep it from going off into the grass, but he did, and all of that momentum bleed gave Kazi exactly what he needed.
Yeah, I thought that battle was going to keep it up for a couple corners. Ultimately, I guess they were kind of going at it for about 3, but I thought they were going to stay side by side for longer, but Kazi just had that move on lock, kind of put Johan in a situation where Johan wanted to go into the corner a little bit deeper, a little bit narrower than he may have wanted to, and ultimately Kazi ends up coming out of it the victor, or at least up in the lead for now. Still what? 16 laps at the line left in the stage, so plenty of time for Johan to get back into it, and likely around at pit stops, but if he keeps blinking like that, it might be a little difficult.
Yeah, right. When half of your race is in the phantom zone, you're going to have a hard time keeping up.
Ooh. Getting around the slow car, let Johan get back to him, man. Johan just about gave the bumper to the 88 through the last corner, but he's going to lose a good bit of ground down the front stretch.
And now we've got cars in every single sector of the racetrack, so it is no longer an open race for Kazi and Seminario up there at the front. They're going to be driving through people now.
Yeah, definitely going to have a string of lap traffic that they're going to catch just about every lap here pretty soon. Ultimately, still, I mean, it takes, what, a minute and 37 seconds to get around here about, so still not the shortest of road courses, but you're still going to catch lap traffic every now and again. 22-car field. Actually, it looks like we had 2 no-shows at the beginning, so 20-car field. Ultimately, I don't know. It'll be spread out enough to where the lap cars won't become a consistent factor, but whenever they do become a factor, it's going to be pretty big. Because like we've mentioned, if you don't get out of the way for somebody, it is tough to pass. And that includes the lap cars. It's just hard to put your car in an advantageous position at the right time in these next gens. So we'll have to wait and see how that shakes up the race for the lead. But I imagine it won't be too big of a story all night.
Yeah, here comes Triple H up on Art Nicotera. That's Henry, Hudson, and Healy. And they make the pass nice and cleanly, get past him. These 3 have been in a nice run for the past couple of laps. Still looking for Hudson to make that pass on PB Henry.
Healy's gotten by PB over the course of the last couple laps. Kind of setting his sights ahead, and he's kind of not pulled away from these guys, but he's just kind of inching closer to that range. 7/10 over PB Henry right now. Didn't get the greatest of runs out of the last corner, but nonetheless, Healy doing what he needs to do now over these 2. But like you said, Hudson not able to make the move yet on Henry. Not quite close enough, and you got to be a decent bit closer than that coming down to turn 1 unless they make a mistake in front of you. But PB pretty clean there through turn number 1, both of them coming down to turn 2 and into the S's. And it's just looking nice and tidy from both of them, and that's really all you got to do to not get past. You just got to be tidy. You don't have to be the fastest guy out here. And even though I think Hudson might be a little bit quicker than PB just doing a good job running a good defensive race. And, I thought for sure Healy was faster than PB whenever he was stuck behind him. But now that he's in front of Henry, I mean, it's not like he's pulling away that much. The gap is staying pretty consistent.
Yeah, yeah. He hasn't just given him the slip completely. He didn't do the Seminario and Kazi bit where they just shot out ahead and are light years away. But he's respectively far enough ahead that PB Henry is not in direct competition right now. And I mean, obviously, if he screws up or if Healy lets up even for a second, Henry's going to be there on his bumper to show him that he's waiting for it. But right now, I just don't think that competition is going to come from the 25.
Got a couple replays lined up to kind of see a few off tracks we've been notified of, or little issues here coming out of pit road for Evan Ethel. He's had some issues. I think a little bit of damage to his left front. Just coming back onto the track, giving B-Saw plenty of room there at the top of the hill. So ultimately, nothing too big for Evan. Unfortunately, he is a lap down though. Has obviously been in a couple little mishaps in the early going of this one.
Just a few. Let's see how he handles these S's here. Not too bad. Let's see who's next on this list here. I think we're going to see Art Nicotera.
Yeah, we're just seeing him come out of pit road. I think it's keeping us some false flags for them going slow out on the exit here of turn 1, or the entry of turn 1. I mean, he just about comes to a stop there for him. Nonetheless,
Yeah,
Chris Hudson trying to make a move on PB Henry. Scott Haley had a moment, and both these guys got by him.
This is a replay now. Christoph Hall, I think he actually has some action wide there.
Do we have anything from Healy, because he just lost 2 spots?
Damn, Healy. Wonder what did happen there. Just, all it takes is one bad corner. Let's see this here. Yeah.
Coming through the second to last corner, or about to. Getting hard on the binders. Easy to, oh yeah, just overdrove it. Easy to get the front left locked up. It kind of opens the door for PB. It doesn't take it immediately. Kind of dives that nose into it last second. Puts Scott off for the exit. Still all tucked up, coming down the front straightaway. But Scott did open the door, second to last corner. PB kept it close enough. I mean, did he make the move down into 1? I mean, he's so far back at this point, but look at him dive down to the inside. PB Henry with a huge move, and Healy just has to basically get out of the way, and that lets Hudson through 2 down on the inside. Coming up towards the S's, Hudson able to hang it around the outside, and that's a good move from the 43, being able to hang it all the way around the outside of turn number 2 so that he can have the inside for the first bit of the S's. Great job from Hudson.
Wow. Very, very impressive. Unfortunate for Scott Healy. Here we are, I'm stacked up again, once again. I'm trying not calling this group Triple H for now because it is 3 H-name drivers in a row, and that makes me laugh. So these guys are still doing their thing. And we have about 12... No, not 12, excuse me. Yeah, about 12 laps left.
Yeah, Kazi coming around the last couple corners to make it 12 to go in the stage. Hudson still hounding PB Henry here inside of the top 5, 4th, 5th, and 6th. All under a blanket right now, 10 seconds off of your race leaders. So Hudson doing a good job just trying to ride in the tire tracks here, the 25. Back up towards the front, Johan has kind of lost touch with Kazi and has gotten Lou Christian into the fray. Now, Johan has slowed down to where he's just not as fast as the race leader, yes. But also, Lou Christian has caught Johan from even further back, right? He's run faster than the race leader himself in the 3rd place position. He was 4 seconds off the race lead a couple laps ago. Now he's just 2.2. I saw it down to 1.8 at 1 second. So Lou, yeah, he's running down Johan, but he's also running down your race leader.
That gap is closing. I can see it now. 2.1. And with Luke Christian he's kind of a man alone right now, you know. He's less than a second behind Johan, but he's almost 10 seconds ahead of Chris Hudson. So he's not going to get any push from behind to close that gap. This is something he's going to do on his own. Oh, and he's got the the interdimensional Johan Seminario ahead of him.
Johan's got to get his internet fixed. I mean, what is going on? Every week, Johan's going to be the blinker.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
what's
gotta
up with
feed
that?
the pigeons. You gotta feed the pigeons that carry your internet traffic.
He needs to change his internet provider so that he's or that he stops being a distraction during the race. Last week at Atlanta, probably a little bit bigger of an issue here at Atlanta. I think you can kind of manage a lot of that, but no, last week at Atlanta, no thank you. Are you kidding me? That happening in the middle of a pack running 180 miles an hour? Nah.
That's a butt clincher right there. And I feel bad putting that at the feet of Johan because, you know, ISPs being what they are, not always something in your control. But no, okay, it's his fault. I take it back.
Ooh, Lou Christian looking to the inside. We're going to make contact at the top of the hill. And Lou with a big dive down to the inside, trying to take over the second place spot. He's been faster than both of the top two. Can he take second away from Johan coming down into the S's, and he's going to do it. Look at the driver, the 21, man, Lou Christian. He's got some speed here tonight. He could put up a challenge to Joseph Kazi up in the lead.
That's what he's trying to do, and I think that he's going to feel a little more confident now that he's out ahead of the blinking car. He can open it up a little bit and try to really drive it down without fear of driving through an invisible vehicle. But that, Johan is not happy. He is tight on the 21 right now, and he's going to look to make that pass right back as soon as he can.
I was about to say, he's not going to have to worry about hitting an invisible vehicle anymore, but he does have to worry about getting hit by one with Johan behind him. So
yeah.
maybe a little bit more nervous until he puts some distance between the two. Sammy Harrell is the lap car in between Lou Christian and your race leader right now that Lou's going to have to pick up and put down pretty quick, or else he's going to lose touch with Joseph Kazi up front. But here's Sammy Harrell getting out of the way. Good job from Sammy, letting second and third get through to not kind of alter their race whatsoever. So Lou Christian now sights firmly set on your race leader, Joseph Kazi. As we come up to 10 laps to go in stage number 1, we're going to go ahead and take our first commercial break of the racing action. When we come back, we're going to take you to the end of stage 1.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the Spartans Master Series, and, well, we're coming down to the end of stage number 1, and Lou Christian is running down Joseph Kazi. He took the second place spot and was 2.2 seconds back. He's running it down to just about a second.
Here he goes, popping out to the middle a little bit just to get into the rearview mirror and say, hey, you see me? Oh, I forgot these cars don't have side mirrors.
Well, they do. They do. They got
they have side
they got a
mirrors?
little window. Yeah, they got a little mirror down there.
Oh, I see it. Okay, it's cute.
Yeah, it's like strapped on the A post or something. I'm pretty sure. But
yeah, I keep forgetting that they actually have a little something.
Yeah, they are there. They are there.
Okay.
You know, we were just talking good about Lou, and already that gap back up to 1.8. It just takes one mistake. It just takes one corner, and all of a sudden, all your hard work is gone.
Yeah, it gets erased fast on a track like this. On a longer track, when you've got more technical corners, one bad corner on a technical corner, and not only is the entry bust, but then the exit is going to be a bust as well, and you're going to lose time.
You can tell Lou maybe just pushing a little bit too much. I see that tire smoke coming out. He's locking up the tires. Every now and again, he's been faster than Kazi, though. He just needs to get back into the rhythm he was in beforehand. Don't push it too hard. Kazi getting around some slow traffic. Evan Ethel up ahead here for Lou Christian. So maybe Lou gets through it a little bit better than Kazi did. Coming to the end of the quadruple right. Gonna see here. Evan still staying in the racing groove in front of Lou. Lou following him in. Gonna try to get a good run off so he can make a dive here. Actually, Evan pulling down to the inside, letting him go. Credit to Evan for that one. Johan Seminario, though, he's going to be coming down pit road, even if you can barely tell that that's what he was doing. But I'm pretty sure that's what he did before he blinked out.
Yep. There he goes. And if you look at the last lap times, the last lap times, Joseph Kazi and Lou Christian they're different now, but they were only off by a hundredth of a second. They are very, very close right now in their overall speed.
I hope Lou gets up there and just turns them.
Yeah, just gives it to him right in the side.
Just wreck him. He deserves it at this point. Just wreck him.
Ruin the show. Oh, that's dark. I love it.
Go for it, Lou. Get him. And he's getting to him, man. I mean, it's cut down to 0.6 of a second now. I mean, if he wanted to, he could really just drive it in there deep and knock his socks off.
He could. It would be a hell of a blow. Just a big old right hook right in the front of a race. So there's no other cars around. No reason to do it. Just spite.
I mean, no reason to do it.
Spite.
Just channel his inner Dale. Channel the inner Dale right now, Lou Christian. This is your moment. Drive it down to the corner like you've never driven it down there before into turn 1, and we're on.
Just hobble him.
Yeah. Make sure he can't get back in it. Snap a toe link. Make sure he can't get back in it, and we'll be good to go. Oh, both of them going to be coming down. Hey, this is his moment right here, right into the pit barrier. Nobody would suspect a thing. He's not going to do it, though.
Total accident. Complete accident right here.
He should have done it. That was his moment. Nonetheless, we're going to see exactly who's taking tires, whether they do or not, or just going to be filling up on gas. Kazi getting slowed up in pit road, though, behind Mark Sanchez. Actually losing a little bit of ground here before Sanchez turns off into his pit box, but it looks like Chris Hudson is going to be the guy to assume the race lead here on lap number 20.
Yeah, he won the race off the line there. Or no, he didn't even go in. Oh, we got a spin, though, ahead of him. That was the 98 of Christoph Hall. Barely avoids that spin there. Christoph Hall and that Dunkin' Donuts car back on the track. Let's watch the spin. Comes off pit road, goes into the big weight transfer, up in 1, and just spins it.
Oh yeah, you hit the curb, and all of a sudden the back end's just bouncing. Good luck. Good luck with the next gen after the back end starts bouncing like that. You got no chance. But nonetheless, our two race leaders, Kazi took a splash of gas to get him to the end of the stage. Lou Christian filled it up, but he didn't take tires. So Christian hoping for a shorter pit stop under the stage break, I'm assuming, or just going to stay out whenever Kazi's going to have to come back down, because like I said, Kazi had a really quick pit stop. It had to have just been a splash and go to get to the end of the stage. Christian was in there for a good 7 seconds longer. So maybe not quite that long, but nonetheless, I think Christian's setting himself up more for the long game.
Yeah, I've got the numbers here for you. Kazi's pit stop 5.42, Lou Christian's pit stop 8.52.
It felt a lot longer than that versus Kazi's. That's incredible. It was only a 3-second difference. Either way,
I know, right?
So I mean, I guess we have way shorter fuel cells, right? So it makes sense to only need 8 seconds or so of fuel, but nonetheless,
Yeah.
still seems a little low for me. But he definitely took more than Joseph.
Chris Hudson, now our former leader, is in the pits.
Hudson of Levine down pit road. PB Henry now the next on deck to take the race lead. Not kind of like running this as long as you can possibly go. You know, either take as little gas as possible or set yourself up later to take as little gas as possible. So I like this from PB Henry, stretching this run out absolutely to the max. I like the strategy. If you don't have quite race-winning pace, give yourself the opportunity to be as far forward in the field whenever the late cautions come out. And I think Henry's doing a good job of kind of setting himself up for something later. Might not be the race win, but I do think that it's setting himself up to finish better than 5th.
Yeah, it's a touch, just a drop of ambition in the strategy here for PB Henry. The staying out, knowing, like you said, you made a really good point, you know, knowing that you may not have the pace to stay out in front for the race win for 60 laps, you take every inch you can get. And PB Henry here is doing exactly that by drawing this out, doing another lap, maybe 2, I'm guessing, maybe at most. Very wide off behind him, Joseph Kazi flying off the track. There goes Henry down pit lane. No, that wasn't Joseph Kazi who flew off the track. That was whoever was ahead of him there. Sammy Harrell. Yeah.
Nonetheless, PB coming down. I want to see if he's taking tires. You know, I think with him stretching it as long as possible, you're not going to lose a lap because of how spread out we are. You're not going to lose very many positions. Nobody else took tires. Why not go ahead and put on 4 fresh tires, have 22 lap fresher tires than everybody else? And PB Henry's doing that. He's putting on 4 tires. He'll be a little worse at the very beginning of it, kind of getting the tires up to temperature, but by the end of the stage, he'll have a heat cycle on them. And I don't think anybody's going to take tires at the stage if they didn't under green, other than PB Henry. So I'm kind of expecting the leaders to stay on their set that they've ran since the beginning. And so I like this call from PB Henry. Go down, get the tires, lose a little bit of time under the stage number 1, but know that you're going to get it all back at the end of the stage.
Now we're on lap 22 out of 25 in stage 1 here, so we are coming down to the line. A chance for Joseph Kazi and Johan Seminario to lock things up here. One interesting thing I want to point out, though, my friend, Justin Levine, currently sitting in 10th place. We talked about him as a hard charger, right? 45 seconds in the pits.
What in the world could he have done? Trying to get a look back to see exactly what happened to Levine. I mean, 45 seconds. That sounds like a speeding penalty on top of 5 seconds of gas.
That was my guess, was that it was a penalty of some kind, sit in the pits. But I thought you had to go and do a lap before you came in and took those under green.
If it's on the way in, then you can serve.
It's on the way in. Okay.
Like, yeah, if you're speeding on entry, then it'll do that. And he sat at 41 miles an hour, going up to 42 for a split second for multiple counts down the pit road. So I'm thinking he just sped at some point coming down the front straightaway. It wasn't even right on entry. It was later in the pit cycle. Nonetheless, Lou Christian down to the inside of Johan. It's going to flip-flop. Johan trying to stay down to the inside for the S's. Not going to be able to do it. Lou Christian able to take that position back away. Great job from Lou after taking more gas on the pit stop, getting himself back up to second before the end of the stage.
I thought there was a little contact there between those two cars. You saw a little smoke go up from Johan, but Johan knows the situation he's in. He knows that he's the blinking one. He can push it only so far, before he can't predict what's going to happen. And if he can't predict where the car's going to go, it's not a fight he wants to be in.
What I've heard from Johan, whenever he does have these blinking issues, nobody else, they don't blink on his screen. He continues to see everything as is. So
Oh, that's fair. He might not even know.
Weird scenario. So he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't. Like at Atlanta, he only knew because people were telling him. So kind of weird from the broadcaster's perspective. But from his perspective, it's almost weaponized at that point. Like you can almost use it to your advantage in certain ways. Like, you know, if you can always see your opponent's car, but you're blinking in and out, you do have a little bit of an advantage there just off of them not knowing exactly where they need to place their car.
It looks like Christoph Hall is behind the wall now. He's jumped back to pits. I guess don't know if he had an incident or something. We're on lap 24 out of 25 right now. Current race leader, Joseph Kazi, Luke Christian, and Johan Seminario. Here's a look back real quick at Christoph Hall. Goes around.
Yeah, the back end just stepped out on him under braking, and he just never got it back under control, just sitting out on the outside. Maybe waiting for a hole, but also kind of debating at the same time, is this really worth it at this point? And I guess he decided, no, it's not. Looking at the 77 of Art Nicotera coming down to the hairpin, and he's just going to overshoot the ever-living hell out of that thing. Bring it back on the racetrack. So just a little 1X there for the 77. Now we're looking at Adam Pettit, number 60, coming down to turn number 1. Probably just going to overshoot it. Oh, yeah, buddy, that's overshooting. Squeeze that brake pedal. Get that thing low down. Get it back on the track. Not too good, but not too terrible. Could have been a whole lot worse for Adam. I wish I could see how the X's were going, though. I need to see everybody's X limit, who's getting dangerously close to it. I gotta imagine there's a couple people getting close to at least the warning at 17. So I'm gonna keep my eyes peeled.
Yeah, same. Here comes the start-finish line. Here comes Joseph Kazi. Luke Christian is a few seconds behind. Johan Seminario a few seconds behind him. It looks like Christian's increased the gap between himself and Seminario pretty sizably over the last couple of laps. We were watching some replays. And this will be the last lap for the stage, I'm pretty sure.
Yep, 1 lap to go in the stage. Kazi up in the race lead, looking to get yet another stage win on his tally for this season. He's been really, really good this year. Most wins in the series. Swapped the points lead back and forth with Justin Levine. The driver to 88 has been just about unbeatable. He's been top class until he ends up bending it himself, but so far he has shown no chinks in the armor.
Yeah, nothing. Nowhere to stick a sword here.
Sammy Harrell was just disqualified. I never saw a warning, so I think he got to 21.
Yeah, we'll have to take a look.
Joseph Kazi coming around the last couple of corners here in stage number 1. Coming up to the penultimate corner. It's been just about the story of Joseph Kazi all day so far, but he does have a contender here in stage number 2 he's going to have to worry about, and that's that car 4.5 seconds back of Luke Christian. Played a little bit of different strategy, lost some track position to Kazi, and is ultimately going to lose stage number 1 to him as Kazi comes across the line. But I think Luke Christian might have something for him here in stage 2.
I think you might be right. Luke Christian has been the driver to watch. Right now he's in second. That's where he started the race. But he has not been content with the positions that he's been handed. Him, Chris Hudson, 2 of the drivers toward the front that I think here in stage 2 are going to be the ones mixing things up the most. And we've got another half a race to go. And so it's anybody's race still. We saw some early leaders, but we also saw some contenders that were able to keep up and close gaps, which is never really easy to do. So stage 2 is going to be a looker.
Going to take a look at the incident that put Sammy Harrell over the X limit. Coming down to turn number 1.
Oh, that beautiful car.
Oh man, just outbraking himself way off the racetrack. That's going to be a 1X. And at some point he goes away. I'm guessing he must. There it is. That was That was a very delayed disqualification, but nonetheless, Sammy Harrell, unfortunately, DQ'd out of this one at the end of stage number 1, and I gotta think he's not gonna be the only one. There's gonna be a few others hitting that 21x limit pretty soon. And ultimately, I gotta be honest, Joe. I said 5 people were gonna get DQ'd. I think it's gonna be 5 people were left in the race at the end from not getting DQ'd.
Hey, we've only had one in stage 1, but you're right. If we've already had one by stage 1,
It's
who
early.
knows how close to everybody else is? Yeah. Oh, big bump right now. Big bumps between the 64 and the 56. Looks like Sky Hilly just pushing around Seminario a little bit.
Since we're at the end of stage number 1, we're going to go ahead and take another step aside here and go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to have the start of stage number 2.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the Spartans Master Series, where we are doubling up, getting ready to take the green flag for stage number 2 here tonight. A little bit of a shakeup in the running order. We mentioned PB Henry took tires under the green flag while nobody else didn't. Everybody else came down pit road during the end of stage number 1 during the caution period, took tires, filled it up with fuel. PB Henry, he stayed out on the racetrack, didn't even take any more gas. So PB just looking to get this thing into a place where he can one-stop it, take a little bit more fuel than everybody else, but ultimately not too much, and he's gotten himself the track position over guys like Kazi, Seminario, and Christian, who have been the fastest all night long. This could be the break that somebody like PB Henry needs. And I also like that he's got some laps in those tires, right? The rest of these guys are on cold tires. He's going to have his, not up to temperature, obviously, because we've had a caution, but he's going to have a heat cycle through him. I think he could be in a little bit better of a scenario here.
Well, we're going to find out. Just like you said, just about everybody took tires. Only a few people did not take tires. Mark Sanchez, Evan Ethel, toward the back of the line. They did not. So that's, I think they might have done it earlier, though. I'm not sure. Probably did. But the 5-lap difference between PB Henry and Joseph Kazi is going to be immediately visible here. Kazi's going to have fast, cold tires, but he's not going to be able to bomb corners the same way that Henry might be able to early on once he gets the speed going.
Yeah, and if I'm Kazi, I'm worried that the 25 can just drive away out of the corners a little bit better, can get on the gas better than I can because he's got some laps in those tires. Now, give it a lap and a half, 2 laps, and Kazi will be back to itself, right? He'll be back to having the same speed, but it could be just enough time for PB Henry to get away, start kind of laying down a couple of decent lap times, and start playing defense. We've seen him play defense all night tonight around the 5th place spot, and he's been damn good at it. So we're gonna have to wait and see if he can hang on to the race lead the same way. But we saw in the main start earlier today, Kazi on the inside of row number 2 made it 3 wide down to turn 1. Do we see the same thing from Lou Christian here?
I think the 3 wide, that was a ballsy move. I'm not sure if we'll see that out of Lou Christian. We might. If he has to do it, I think he might. We'll see.
Might be his best opportunity to get Kazi and force Kazi behind another car. If he can put him behind Henry, put him behind Seminario, then Christian could be off to the races and just be completely gone in this one, barring a mistake. So we'll have to wait and see if the door opens for the number 21, coming up to 32 laps to go, so still a ways to go in this one. PB Henry up on the front row, Joseph Kazi on the outside in 2nd, Lou Christian in 3rd, Johan Seminario in 4th, Scott Healy in 5th, Chris Hudson in 6th, Justin Levine up to 7th, Kyle Gerlach in 8th, and then we got Harvey and Besaw rounding out the top 10, but PB Henry coming up to the line. Back to the green flag, back to the gas pedal. PB Henry gone from Kazi, already clear. Kazi trying to clear himself over the nose of Christian before we get down to 1. These guys were battling for the race lead beforehand. Now Kazi diving it deep down into the corner to the inside of PB Henry, and he's going to make it stick. But can he stay side by side? Can he keep the momentum? PB Henry coming back at him down to the inside of turn number 2, but Kazi trying to rip it around the outside toward the S's.
He had it really square there for a second, but it did cost him a little bit. Not too much, though, right now, as Kazi's leading this group into the S's. PB Henry staying close behind. Not too close, though. Not as close as Luke Christian is staying on the tires of that 25. Off goes Luke Christian now. Off the track for a little bit. Loses a lot of momentum. Keeps the inside backed up now. Throws a little bit of traffic their way as everybody stacks up behind Luke Christian, trying to get speed back under these things.
Johan just drove it in way too deep and almost took out Luke Christian. They made contact down to the inside. Johan got squirrely after being off the racetrack due to giving Lou room to miss, or room to avoid coming back onto the track after Lou had an issue. And, well, Johan got sideways coming out of the corner, and it just dive bombed him the next corner, and it was too far.
There's the mistakes that we're talking about. All it takes is one, and now Johan Seminario, he's in 11th.
And Lou Christian has a ton of left front damage. I mean, a ton of it. I'm going to be shocked if he's anywhere close to the same speed as he was beforehand.
Time will tell. Some of these, would you consider these next-gen cars to be fairly resilient?
Do we have a replay of that?
See if the old Wayback Machine can take us there and see what's going on. Or what went down there with that spin-off of Seminario.
You're going to have to pull it up the corner beforehand because, like I said, Johan got loose on the inside. Christian trying to get a spot back on Healy. It's just going to be too difficult with the left front damage. But yeah, well, on the replay, we'll end up looking back. Johan just completely outbraked himself coming down to the hairpin. Gonna replay the whole restart here. See Kazi's big move down to the inside, able to take the race lead. Christian getting into a battle here with Johan for the third place spot as they came through the S's. Side by side in front of him. Lou has to lift a little bit getting in, giving some room almost to PB, and then coming through the S's. It'll end up being Johan that has an issue. Or sorry, Lou Christian that has an issue, pushing Johan a little bit narrow, and then coming off of this corner, you're going to see Johan get squirrely, gets on the throttle a little bit too early. And then here, I'm guessing it's because Johan is so far off the racing groove that he just missed his braking zone. But man, that was like Kyle Larson at Indy a couple years ago. That was a really big miss of the braking zone.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a huge overdrive. I guess that'd be the term. He drove right over it. And as a result, it was an unfortunate situation, but Lou Christian was on the line, was making the appropriate turn, and he just got cut off.
That was the battle we were going to have for the lead, man.
While
we were gone, though, Kazi and Henry, Kazi's lost the spot. Joseph Kazi lost it at the top of the hill in turn number 1. I mean, he spun out. He had a lead over PB Henry, and he just lost it. Coming up the hill, Joseph Kazi out in front. Coming over the crest, and the back end, loop-de-doo. Goodbye to Mr. number 88. You're going back to second place. PB Henry said, thank you very much. I'll take that, sir. And now the tires on the 88 are going to be burned up a little bit. That ain't good.
Yeah, they're going to be buttery.
I'd rather have buttery tires than a bent-up front end like Lou Christian, but nonetheless,
yeah.
Kazi did lose the race lead off of that.
That's true. Buttery tires, a situation that you can massage. But the front end, you can't massage that anywhere but in the pits.
And that's going to take some time. And you never know if we're going to get that caution. All right, we think we're going to get the X caution. I'm pretty confident. But we don't know for sure, so we're just going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, even though I am a pretty, upbeat and positive guy, I don't think we're getting it just because of my positivity this time. I think it's just genuinely hard to get a full course caution on, Circuit of the Americas with a 20-car field.
I just think there's too many 1Xs out there. We know they do the X accumulation will bring out a yellow. I just feel like we're going to get there. We're going to get to
that's
threshold.
Fair. Okay. I keep forgetting about the X threshold.
I don't know exactly what it is. I don't think that they announced exactly what the number is, but I got to think that we're pretty close. We had one guy get DQ'd in the first stage, and it's 25 X's.
That's true.
We got to be getting there.
Did you see Kazi there getting just a little lock up again on the brakes in that turn 1? He's just got a little wobble right now.
Kazi not finding quite the stability he had earlier. Still just a little faster than PB Henry, but his problem is Scott Healy's a little quicker than he is behind him. Now that Kazi has heated up those rear tires, I mean, Healy all of a sudden looks like a mega contender. And of course, as soon as I say that, he did set the fastest lap of the race last time by. So not only has Kazi lost something up here in second, but Healy's actually found a little bit more speed that we didn't know he had. And I guess we should have. He was stupid quick at the Daytona Roval. It's just he made one mistake on cold tires that ruined his race. But here he's followed up that speed with more speed, and all of a sudden it's looking like race winning speed. Lou Christian set his fastest lap of the race last lap with that damage. Man, that poor bastard, I feel for him. I mean, imagine if he didn't have the damage, if he didn't get punted by Johan. I mean, he'd be freaking flying right now.
Yeah, sometimes you get that. And I don't think this was the case, but sometimes you get that lucky chiropractor's adjustment where you get knocked around a little bit, and for some reason it helps you drive better.
Getting knocked around will make me drive a little bit better?
Yeah, haven't you ever seen that? Just like a little ding, and then all of a sudden it's just like, oh, for this course, for these conditions, this ain't so bad.
Oh man, tight. It got tight for the lead. Excuse me, over the hill of turn number 1. PB able to stretch it out over through the S's, a bit over Kazi. Kazi starting to maybe overdrive a bit up towards the front of the field, but he's running down PB and then just gives it back, runs him down, gives it back. So a bit of a yo-yo situation up at the front of the field. But the top 6 all on the same straightaway there, coming down the backstretch. So still kind of anyone's game now that Kazi has shown some chinks in the armor and well, Lou Christian is driving a beat-up car, so we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But Kazi all over the back bumper of PB Henry again, trying to get to the outside, maybe try to pull the over-under here, but ultimately going to be stuck on the outside for the next couple of corners, and he's not actually even going to get side-by-side, so Henry's going to be able to hang on to the race lead for now. Kazi a little bit quicker, but again, we've seen that he can make mistakes. We've seen it now on a couple road courses, looking down to the inside, not going to be able to make the move. Just too quick of a corner to really throw it too wide. Not a good passing zone. Down to the last corner, you can make it work, but not quite close enough for the driver of the number 88. Scott Healy, though, getting ever so closer to the back bumper.
Yeah, he's really holding on to it. I've seen Scott Healy has had to let up a little bit, but he doesn't want to. He's been very, very close to the 88, and as the 88 has made attempts on the 25, Scott Healy's been right there to say, as soon as you mess this up, I'm taking that spot from you, buddy.
He just needs them to get side by side at the worst moment for them to see if it kind of opens up the door. But he's got to be close enough to be able to do it. Here through the S is losing a little bit of ground. Easy to do that, honestly. It's very hard to lose very easy to lose your turn-in points to each of those S's whenever you're tucked up behind somebody. So Healy losing a bit of ground, gaining it back through the changeover, I'd say, onto the back straightaway, down into the hairpin. Healy about as equal of a distance between himself and Kazi as there is between Kazi and PB Henry up there for the lead. Not only that, but 4th place is not too far back, only 2.3 seconds. So again, if anything happens to these guys up here, I mean, this section of 3 are going to be right there to pick up the pieces. And if the 3 in front wreck, I can guarantee you Luke Christian, even with a banged up race car, is going to give it all he can to hang on to that spot that he's got right here.
You better believe it.
He's got something to prove at this point.
Yeah.
You're going to cave in my finger? Well, I'm still going to finish up here.
He's still going to finish up front, yeah.
Oh, it might be side by side. PB Henry too wide. Contact with Kazi. Almost sends him down low. Kazi going to just breathe coming down to the last corner. Not actually get to the back bumper. Going to roll it through the bottom. Going to get side by side all the way down the front straightaway. PB Henry giving the hip check. Oh, almost turns him down the front straightaway, but Kazi's going to get clear. And here comes Scott Healy trying to make it 2 for 1. Send PB Henry back to 3rd. Scott diving it down to the bottom of turn number 1. Almost looked like he was going to dive it in there on Kazi, but Kazi's going to drive in too deep. Scott Healy now to his outside, coming down into turn number 2. Can the 64 do anything on the outside? Kazi trying to close him off as we come up to the S's. And it looks like he's just going to be able to do it. Scott Healy did not let him go unchallenged, but he's going to hit the turtle. Huge hit from the 64 through the S's, going to give some breathing room to the 88.
Wow, did you see he launched up on the 2 wheels there and then back down, didn't lose any spots though. He had all the forward momentum he needed, but that took a lot of control out of Scott Healy. Really careful. Really careful drive out of Scott Healy there.
Now all of a sudden the top 6 kind of closes in once again with that beating and banging for the race lead. Kazi though able to take it, now put some distance between himself and Scott Healy there in 2nd. Not a big gap though, still 2nd through 6th place, all under a blanket and all chasing Joseph Kazi. I think it's going to take another mistake out of Kazi though. How big of a mistake are we going to see out of the driver of the 88 though? We've seen he doesn't make them too frequently here tonight, but we did see him spin out at the top of the hill at turn number 1. Is it just about Healy putting him under some pressure?
Yeah, I think so. Get inside his head. Don't leave his subconscious. And eventually he's going to be thinking about you during a moment he should be thinking about a braking zone.
Some strategy still yet to be played as well coming up to the end of this one. We know we got one more pit stop. How much gas do you take? When do you come down to take it? Do you get out in clean air? Side-by-side battle for 3rd. Luke Christian diving to the inside, making some contact with PB Henry, but he's going to forcibly take that 3rd place spot as Justin Levine takes 5th from Chris Hudson. So everything kicking off inside of the top 5, and now Luke Christian back into a place where he could maybe think about striking again and going for the race lead in the third place spot, running pretty quick laps. It's just that left front damage. How much is it hampering him? Could he be even quicker?
I mean, he probably could be quicker, but in terms of how much is hampering him, look at the places he's made up since taking that damage. And look at who he's taking those places from.
How aggressive will Lou Christian be, knowing that he's got a wounded machine? Can he somehow use it to his advantage? Justin Levine continuing his drive up, and again, we got to think that we're going to get that caution at some point. We had it at the end of the Daytona Roval, so I got to think that we're going to hit the X limit to get the automatically thrown caution at some point. And if we do, any of these guys in the top 6 have a shot.
That's very, very true. Very, very true. And this is the crew to be with right now. You want to be with this crew. You want to keep up with this crew, because if the race is the race win's gonna come from somewhere, it's right here.
Ozzy's starting to stretch that gap out at the front of the field, though. Starting to, or Scott Healy's starting to lose touch with him. Lou Christian just hanging on to the back of Scott Healy down the front straightaway. More grouped up here from 3rd to 6th. Christian coming down, not really fading low. Eventually does see some smoke from up front. Scott Healy going wide, giving Christian an opportunity off of turn number 1. He's not going to be able to do anything with it. Healy back clear before we get towards the S's.
And Healy was almost pulled a Joseph Causey there, sliding up in turn 1, going up over the edge, but he did not. He managed to hold on and did not slide all the way across the line.
There's got to be other people getting close to this DQ limit. I'm telling you, at this point, 37 laps in, I would be shocked if we don't have the next DQ within a couple of laps. I'm shocked, honestly, at this point that we've only had one.
They know to be careful.
Maybe.
That's all I can say. I think that a lot of drivers who decided to race, if you decided to race this race and didn't think, you know what, I'll take a bye, you know you've got to be careful. You know you've got to play it cool.
How can you be careful here if you're Kyle Gerlach and you got Mr. Blinky by you? Gerlach not even knowing where Johan's at. Johan's trying to get back up towards the front of the field after his big moment that he had with Lou Christian. Coming down to the hairpin, he's gotten back up to 8th, but Gerlach couldn't really do much. Couldn't do much defending whenever he couldn't tell where his combatant was.
Yeah, how you gonna block an invisible car?
Oh, Levine having a moment off the last corner. Hudson getting to his outside as we come down into turn number 1. Further up, Lou Christian making the move on Scott Healy, trying to take second place away. He's going to be side by side off the corner, coming down the hill. He's going to pinch him narrow. Christian going for the second place position. Not going to be able to do it, though. Scott Healy just able to edge him out to the edge of the racetrack and hang on a second.
Wow, I did not expect that move at this point, maybe from Lou Christian, but if he's got chomping distance on Scott Healy and he's taking it, that car's got to be okay to drive.
I mean, definitely okay. I definitely feel like there's some corners where he's probably a little bit tighter than he wants to be. A couple corners where it's a little bit harder to get on the gas or whatever.
That's fair.
There's got to be something going on, because that was some pretty decent damage to the left front fender.
Yeah, okay.
I see a pretty noticeable crack in it. So I feel like he was right there with Causey, if not a little bit quicker than Causey in stage 1. And here, don't get me wrong, he's doing great. A little bit of a slide out of him there, but he's doing great to recover from where he got punted down to. But I just feel like without that damage, he'd be up there challenging Causey right now.
Yeah, I'll take that. I think you're right. I think that without the damage, he'd be up there in their face right now, as opposed to trying to get into their face right now. But he's trying, and he's succeeding on his own for the most part, which is pretty impressive. I haven't seen a big shunt, from anybody behind him right now.
Top 6 all still in a line coming down into turn number 1. Healy hanging on to the second place spot. They got a gap now to Causey, who's grown it to about 2 seconds at the front of the field. Levine trying to find a good line here through turn 2 to gain some ground on PB Henry up there in the 4th place position. This is a good drive from Levine, not typically a road course racer, but putting in a good showing from the back of the field. Also good showings. I mean, I got to mention Luke Christian again. I mean, he's had race-winning pace whenever he hasn't had a damaged race car, and even with a damaged race car, he's been top 3. Oh, we were getting side by side there. Levine down to the inside of PB Henry, coming down to the hairpin. Still beating doors here. Levine to the outside of PB Henry. Still hanging it around the outside, trying to keep his nose under that quarter panel as we come up to the tight left-hander. Levine just trying to get the move done before they get down on the straightaway. He knows he's going to have the outside line, not going to be able to do it. And he's not going to be able to do anything here on the outside line. Just going to have to tuck back into the hole. Oh, giving a bumper to PB Henry. Trying to move him out of the groove. Justin Levine all over the back bumper of PB Henry now, coming up to the penultimate corner. Levine doing everything he can to try to get this 4th place spot. Diving it in deep. Contact here on the exit with PB. Justin's going to take the position, but man, that was elbows out racing, and now Hudson trying to follow him through as well, and he's going to get the spot.
We've seen PB be more aggressive than he was just then tonight. I wonder why he didn't try to give him the door to Justin Levine as he was making that pass.
Watch out, coming down to turn number 1. They're still close enough for something. Big dive could be coming here from PB Henry. Down to the inside of Levine into turn number 1. Henry's going to take that spot back and move Levine behind Hudson. Hudson might get both of them out of this, though. Going around the outside of turn number 2. What can Chris Hudson do? Trying to hang on to the spot as we come up into the S's. Hudson still side by side with Henry. And Hudson's going to be able to take the position. Great job from the driver, the 43. You can kind of tell that was happening with the 1 and 25. They're just going at it with each other. No holds bars between these two. A lot of contact so far, and I don't think it's done. Justin Levine all over the back bumper trying to give him another shot.
It's Levine's push right now, and Levine is kind of dictating the pace for PB Henry. If Henry lets up even for a second, if he slides a half a foot, it's going to be Justin Levine's place. He's going to take 5th place without effort. But a lot of it is going to depend on him getting into the bumper of PB Henry, getting into his head like we talked about earlier with other drivers. He needs him to make that little slide, that little mistake, so he can afford to do that dive into the corner and stick it.
Levine trying to do all he can to bridge that gap. Instead of going up to the 4th place spot, he went back to the 6, and Hudson was the big victor in on all of that, going up to 4th place. Luke Christian here still trying to run down Scott Healy for 2nd place. Their gap to the leader has kind of stagnated at about 2 and 3 seconds apiece, so we'll have to wait and see if the pit stop window kind of changes anything that I imagine we're coming up to here pretty shortly. Coming down to turn number 1, though. All these guys just lining up in here, no mistakes. Kazi locked it up a little bit, but ultimately not going to lose much ground off of it. Like PB Henry and Justin Levine still going at it down in turn number 1. Levine locked up like crazy down to the inside, almost took out Henry, and they both had to go off the racetrack.
Yeah, I saw that. Someone was off the track pretty bad there earlier.
Going to go back and take a look down into turn number 1. We're going to see Levine make a move down to the inside, and then that left front tire is going to get locked up. Way too late of a shunt down into turn 1 here for Levine. Just about wipes him out. Good job from PB Henry doing some big evasive maneuvers to get out of harm's way on that one, because that could have been a big wreck. Instead, Henry able to hang on to the spot. They both did lose some time, though, to Chris Hudson in front. You got to be thinking Hudson is enjoying himself knowing that those two who have been bickering the last few laps are in his mirror.
Yeah, you got to imagine that's the case. He gets a little kick out of that. I would. Oh,
I knew it.
Now that is
it.
interesting.
I knew it was going to happen. I told you. We needed, I'm surprised nobody pit as soon as the fuel window was open. You could have pit at the fuel window opening and then not pitted here, and then you would have cycled to the front of the field. I would have liked to see somebody try that strategy. I don't think anybody did.
And down we go for this yellow.
Yeah.
Everybody's slowing down and cooling it off a little bit.
Due to the yellow flag coming out, we're going to go ahead and take this opportunity to take our final commercial break of the racing action. So whenever we come back, we're going to take you to the checkered flag here at COTA.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the Spartan Master Series. We've got one lap to green here. The lights on the iRacing safety car just went out, and Joseph Kazi is going to lead us down to the green flag. Hudson had a good couple laps before the caution, and well, the pit stop went great for him. He's up to second place. Lou Christian in third, Scott Healy in fourth, PB Henry fifth, Justin Levine in sixth. with looks like Pat Harvey in 7th and Johan Seminario in 8th. Kyle Gerlach 9th, Charles Van Schack rounds out the top 10. And I gotta say, a couple storylines to watch out for. What can Luke Christian do with the damage on that number 21? Was he able to get any of it fixed during the gas-only pit stop? Actually, let me even check to see if we did do gas-only. I would think that no, he took left side tires, so there's some differing opinions, I suppose, out there with a few of these guys. We're just gonna have to wait and see how everything pans out for all these drivers, see how the different strategies work out. Some of them on 2 tires, some of them on 4, so got some people trying some different things up at the front of the field.
Hey, whatever works. You know, you've got to mix the strategy up. You got to do something different than the guy next to you.
You know, how fast he's been all day, right? If you're any of these guys, you're thinking, what can I do to put myself in position to fight him? What can I do to put myself in position to beat him? Here for Luke Christian, putting on 2 tires and, you know, getting a run up to the hill. Maybe that's all he needs to get the track position, and then at that point, it's race on. Maybe he just needs that clean air. Same for Hudson now that he's done so good over the course of the last few laps. He's gotten himself onto the front row. If Christian makes a dive to the inside of Kazi and gets them squirreled up, maybe Hudson can pull an over-under down into 1 and get the runoff down to 2 and into the S's. You just never know who's going to pop out into the S's with the race lead, and that's really who's going to control the race from here on out.
And it looks like the race is going to get started here pretty soon. It's just the second to last turn.
With a couple corners left before we get ready to take the green flag once again for the final time here tonight. We will see no more yellow flags. We'll keep you updated on the DQ situation. I still think that number is going to grow, especially with us just hitting the caution flag. You know, I kind of feel like we're getting close to the DQs. We'll have to wait and see. Nonetheless, Kazi on the front row with Chris Hudson for the first time tonight. What can Hudson do now that he's got the track position? Can Kazi hang on, or can Luke Christian do it into wounded number 21? What a story that would be for Luke Christian. Coming back onto the front straightaway once again. Kazi back to the gas pedal, and we're back to the green flag. We're running it out to the end here at COTA.
Here comes one.
Kazi deep into the corner, able to make it work side by side for second as we come into turn number 2. Christian trying to hold the advantage going in the S's, but he's not going to be able to do it. Just has to fall in line behind the 43. Can Chris Hudson do anything now? Leading the train from second on back. Can he do anything to bridge the gap to Joseph Kazi as we fire away on this restart? Scott Healy sent it in hard, trying to get that 4th place spot. Not going to pan out for him. He's going to be under pressure from Justin Levine. Having a good run now from 5th. He finally got clear of PB Henry. So Levine steadily into the top 5 for the first time tonight. Can he hang on to the spot? More importantly, can Luke Christian do anything here from 3rd? We've seen him be the biggest challenge to Kazi so far tonight. The damage has hampered him a little bit. Can he get back up there to Kazi first? He's got to go through Chris Hudson.
And it looks like he might. He's got the right angle.
Oh, no. It looked like for a second there Scott Healy was going to take him out. Healy still fighting the back end of that thing. And now Justin Levine getting down to his inside. Going to be the outside for the next corner. Going to be tough for the driver, the one to make this one stick. Healy able to park it on the apex. Levine trying to go for the over-under. Get the run on the exit. Coming down to the last corner. Levine tries to outbrake. Not going to be able to do it. Scott Healy hangs onto the spot for now, but Levine has better rotation through the center of the corner. PB Henry getting a little loose, but Levine side by side now with Healy. Not going to be able to make it work, but he is close enough to go for a move down to turn number 1. How late does Levine want to brake? Not going to be late enough. He's going to let off for this one. Healy not going to make a mistake. He's going to settle in the 4th place spot with Johan making a deep move down to the inside of PB Henry at the top of the hill. It's not going to pan out. PB Henry going to be able to hang on to P6.
Yeah, if you see smoke going up that hill, that usually means they must have missed their spot. And we saw a little smoke coming out of Seminario there as he was cresting 1.
Oh, speaking of missing your spot, Scott Healy off the racetrack here through the infield. back onto the racetrack. He's going to lose a spot to Levine, but ultimately stop the bleeding there. I'd be shocked if he doesn't have a slowdown. You can kind of serve those without really giving up too much time. Can he serve it without getting past? Is the question. PB Henry sticking the nose down to the inside, trying to keep it down there on the driver of the 64, trying to set him up for the next couple corners. Healy, with a bit of a moment, able to get the 64 slowed down. Oh, Levine spins it from in front of him. So Levine gonna drop 4 positions. What in the world happened to Justin as Healy was struggling? Levine says, I'll do you one better. I'll go all the way back to the back half of the top 10. Good guy Levine taking the pressure off of Scott Healy by just dropping one here. I mean, in the top 5, up to 4th, the best Justin was running all night, and just a mental mistake this late in this one. I mean, 45 laps on the docket, and Levine with a big error at this point.
These errors just stack up one by one. I've already heard from race control. We have a handful of drivers that are close to the DQ limit already, like we mentioned. Didn't get any names, unfortunately, but I know there's a small handful who are getting there. Situations like that are not going to help Justin Levine.
No, not at all. That's a 2x. That's losing control. You know, that's a big one. You feel like you can almost run your race. You know, how many X's can I get per lap and still feel safe? Well, losing 2 of them in one slide like that is not the way to do it. So that's going to be tough for Justin. Hopefully he's not too close to it. Nonetheless, up here, battle for second. I think Luke Christian's a little bit faster than Hudson, but 1, it's so hard to pass, and 2, I'm very sad that it's so hard to pass, because I really think Christian would have something for Kazi. No disrespect to Hudson. He's doing exactly what he needs to do. We've seen Kazi make mistakes. One mistake from Kazi, and all of a sudden Hudson's the race leader. But man, I really think Christian would have something for Kazi here, especially if it wasn't for the damage.
Yeah, the damage is... I keep coming back to the damage, and the damage does seem to be the only thing that would be holding back Luke Christian. Christian now less than half a second away from Chris Hudson, only about 2 seconds and change away from Joseph Kazi. This is a good spot for him to be in this condition. You know, he's ahead of the car behind him. He's got a little damage, so he can tuck into the car in front of him. He's in a good spot.
Lou's still running really good lap times, even stuck up under the back of another car. So I really just think if he could get this move done on Chris Hudson in a one-time fashion, not lose too much time, I really think he could still have something for Kazi. But he's got to get it done fast, and it's just so hard whenever you're stuck in the wake of another car here. These corners just, there's such medium speed. Like the S's, there's nothing you're doing through the S's on somebody. You're not making a move unless somebody's off the racetrack. Like, it's just about impossible. And there's so many other corners like that where you just feel like you can't even make a move. You're almost just crawling or just trying to hang on to the car. I don't know. It's a very weird form of racing where you just got to be close enough until they make a mistake and hope they make a mistake soon enough to let you by quick enough to be able to catch the leader. And right now, it's not happening up front. PB Henry back here runs a little wide as he's got the blinky boy in his mirror.
See, here I am calling him the interdimensional race car driver, and you're calling him Blinky Boy. I'm trying to figure out how to be respectful about this here.
No, we rag on them as much as we can.
That's fair.
The commentating 101, you're not their friends, you're their comedian.
Oh, okay.
Yep, you rag on them. Or you're basically their personal roaster. Anytime they do
roaster.
Anything, you act like they're at a roast.
I gotcha.
Yeah, that's the goal. We're here to make fun of you.
We're not doing good cop, bad cop. It's just bad cop, bad cop.
Exactly.
Snarky cop. I get it.
I'm not your friend. No. I feel like we do a good job not ragging on too many people.
I think we do great. Honestly, I think the people that we do take it out of, you know, it's because they're driving like maniacs, and they deserve to have it taken out of them.
Tonight hasn't been too bad though. You know, there hasn't been a lot of like major incidents. Honestly, for a track of this difficulty, I've been surprised at the quality of racing up towards the front of the field. I mean, it's been really, really good, right? I mean, Chris Hudson, he's found this track position. He's been able to hang on to it. No mistakes from the 43, and you know, he hasn't been on the top 3 all night. But all of a sudden, you put him here, and you know, he's got a piece that can contend. I just think that there's a good handful of drivers in here that they just put on a dang good show up in the top 10, not really getting into each other. We've seen, a little bit of argy-bargy, but it definitely hasn't been the story of the show. It's been nice, tough, hard racing and cars that are hard to pass. And, I appreciate it from these guys because it could have been a lot worse, I'm telling you.
Yeah, no, I fully agree with you. It could have been much, much worse. And we've seen just a touch of that good old argy-bargy. We saw PB Henry throwing a few door shots here and there. We saw Luke Christian getting his nose cut off. And it's so by, I forgot who cut off his nose. Was that Justin Levine?
No, it was Johan.
Johan Seminario, yeah. So we've seen a little bit of action, but the action hasn't been anything to hold back the best from doing their thing too much. Like they keep bouncing back, getting back in the race, and if you have been affected by it, there's still, like you said, a good 5 or 6 racers in here who are putting on just a really great show tonight.
Oh, these guys both running it deep down into turn number 1. I was just about to say, they've still got a chance back here in second and third because they weren't letting Kazi get away, but they both make an error in one. Gonna let the 88 get just a little bit more distance between them, but nonetheless, it's good that they've kept them as close as they have because it's just gonna take one more mistake like we saw earlier from Kazi and this thing is on once again. I mean, not even as big of a mistake, right? It could just be something where he's got to slow down to serve or something along the lines, and he drops right back into the clutches of Chris Hudson. I mean, this race is not over with. Hudson's done a heck of a job hanging on in second, and a heck of a job hanging on as close to Kazi as he has. All right, he's put himself right between the two guys that have proven to be the fastest tonight. Excuse me. And of course, we've harped on Luke Christian having damage and being kind of wounded, but I gotta say, Chris Hudson has done fantastic ever since he's gotten the track position. I mean, no mistakes really. I know we just talked about them in turn 1 going a little wide, but nothing big enough to cause concern, and he's outran a lot of these guys that have been up front all night in this last stint. So hats off to Hudson keeping it this close and hanging on to second for as long as he has. I almost hope Kazi has an issue so that the race for the win can be Hudson and Christian.
Yeah, that would be a nice mix up here, but Kazi is just far enough ahead that it's going to be all on him if the race is going to change into somebody else's hands with less than 10 laps to go now, or exactly 10 laps to go in tonight's race. Joseph Kazi's out in front, Luke Christian second, Chris Hudson in third. And the group of Triple H is still together. Nope, Johan Seminario is going to mix it up.
Oh no, PB Henry getting caught out with Johan Blinken. Oh, big stack up here coming up to the S's. PB Henry going to lose out big time. I imagine he is pissed. I mean, I think he's trying to give Johan as much room as possible, not knowing exactly where Johan is going to be. And then he has contact with Healy. And of course, PB gets the bad end of the stick on that one. We knew it was going to happen to somebody with the Blinky boy up there.
Yeah, this is a really crucial time to keep the car under you and to have good control and predictability. And Johan is really risking all 4 of these guys, all 3 of these guys' fates out there ahead with the blinking.
The tight 4-car battle. Luke Christian has finally gotten through to second, by the way. He was able to pass going up the hill in turn 1. He got side by side coming out of the last corner last time by. So, big moment there, but he did lose a good bit of time. Over 3 seconds back now from Kazi. Only about to be 9 laps to go for them. That's going to be tough. I mentioned the wounded race car before. That's going to be tough for Luke Christian in the 21, even in the clean air. He's going to have to get some really, really good laps put in here to challenge Kazi. Maybe he can cut it down to 2 seconds and some change. Maybe a little bit further and put Kazi under some pressure and force a mistake out of Kazi, but it's going to be tough to run down 3.5 seconds from here.
I think we just lost the 92 of Kyle Westwood as well to the incident count.
Oh no.
Yep, he's behind the wall.
Is that only number 2? Or have we lost another we didn't hear about?
I think that was only number 2. We currently not racing. We've got Kyle Westwood, Sammy Harrell, Christoph Hall, and then Reese Schaefer and Jordan Sailors. Yeah,
but Reese and Jordan didn't even start.
Yeah, Reese did 2 laps.
I think it was just Harrell. I think it was just Harrell and Westwood so far that have bit the DQ bug.
Yep, it's just those 2.
So keep your eyes peeled. Still 9 laps left. Still plenty of time for
It's
several
true.
of these guys to rack up a few X's.
I didn't think about it like that, but you are correct, sir. Oh, bouncy, bouncy out of Luke Christian. Hits that turtle in the corner. Pops right up. A little bit of action out of him. We're moving over here to Scott Healy and Johan Seminario. Justin Levine. Healy trying his best to hold on to this vehicle, keep things locked down, but it feels like he's bleeding just a little bit of speed here and there. Levine just behind him saying, I got eyes on you. If you're the one that makes the mistake here, I'm taking that spot from you, buddy.
How about we do a little sights and sounds of the Circuit of the Americas with these 4 as they battle it out, kind of right on board, give you an idea of what it's like to battle around COTA. Scott Healy reversing across the field. You saw it in the sights and sounds there. What a time to go away for that. That was Scott Healy getting loose, coming out on the back straightaway. Now he's stopped in the middle of the racetrack. Gonna get a replay in a battle with Justin Levine. Goes wide, back end already stepping around, going over the humps, just overshooting off into the dirt, and overcorrects. Easy to do in this next chance. And unfortunately, that is going to be the end of Scott Healy's run up in the top 5. Tough break for the Heelster.
I think he's going to jump back to pits most likely.
Yep, he's called it quits. He's called it quits. I don't say that. I can't say I blame him. I couldn't imagine running 53 laps around here and then making a mistake like that up in the top 5. I'd be so freaking pissed.
Yeah, you look yourself in the mirror and just say, "What's happened? What happened to you? What happened to you?"
You honestly, like that night, you go to the mirror and you're just like, what the hell is wrong with you? What is your problem? And I'm sorry, Scott Healy, I'm using you as an example, but man, I felt it.
Yeah, I think we all did a little bit. I've been there, you've been there, and hopefully Scott Healy doesn't beat himself too bad. He did some really great racing tonight, so there's nothing really to be ashamed of there. He got loose twice in rapid succession, drove himself right off the track. That's the part you gotta think to yourself, let me reevaluate next time I'm in this situation. How did I overdrive myself? How did I get myself here?
Well, that's kind of the point, though, right? Like the last time we were at a road course at the Daytona Roval, he did the exact same thing, right? He was racing for the win in that thing, and coming out of the green flag pit stops, just ran off the racetrack, bended into the tire barriers. So it's not like this is the first time, and it's just a one-off mistake. It's like, man, both times we got in a road course, he's been in a good position. Overdrives just one corner. That's all it takes.
Mm-hmm. Very, very true. Very true. PB Henry here right now, cruising through 6th place, down just 1 place from where he started tonight's race. He's had a little bit of a loosey-goosey here.
Towards the front, Luke Christian up in 2nd still, has not cut into that lead from Hudson. So
No.
Broken away from Hudson slightly. Nothing too big, right? Like not even a second between the two, but it just, he has not cut in that gap because he's grown the lead just a little bit up to about 4 seconds now. So Christian gonna need a miracle, probably a huge mistake out of the 88, which, you know, he's prone to do, so who knows.
Time marches on, and time will tell the fates here of these drivers. Chris Hudson in the beautiful 43 machine, cutting through those S's like a champ, holding on to things, keeping 2 on the track. I think he's going to chew up Lou Christian before the end of this race.
Seeing Scott Healy in the chat says shifter stopped working. I think road courses aren't for me.
Oh, no, Scott. What a shame.
You know what? Now I feel bad about what I said. If that wasn't his fault, his shifter stopped working. I understand.
Oh, man.
That sucks. I see, and now I'm thinking, man, I couldn't imagine sitting 53 laps on this racetrack. I know how much it takes out of you. 53 laps here is no joke. It's gonna take a lot out of these guys sitting here for 2 hours straight doing this. And
Yeah.
well, it doesn't. Having a hardware malfunction at that point, I would be so much more livid than before. I'd be so mad. I'm telling you, I would just about be throwing my hardware out the window.
But you can't be mad at yourself anymore. You've actually got something legit to be mad at. So that's much easier to focus that energy on.
I couldn't throw myself out of the window, but I can definitely disconnect my wheel and just jump this thing into the trash can.
Suplex the shifter straight into the ground.
Gone. Paddles for you for now, Scott. That's all we can say. Paddles for you for now.
Oh God, paddles.
What's wrong with paddles?
I'm so not used to them. I tried using paddles. I was doing rally driving, and you can't use paddles when you're driving rally. The wheel just turns too much.
Well, I just don't want to spend $250 on a ship.
That's fair. That's fair.
That is my reasoning. I think it's pretty sound.
Yeah, no, that's very sound. You make better decisions than I do with your money. That's for sure.
Well, the Fanatec NASCAR mode, man. The paddles are so far away. It's like I gotta just about grow another phalange at the end of my fingers to be able to get to the paddle. It's a little much. It's a little much. Closest battle on the track, Johan and Levine going at it for 4th and 5th. Levine trying to run him down, see if he can't get some back up for the 56. Kazi has slowed down a little bit. Christian's got a second into that gap, but ultimately not enough to make a big enough dent. So still, this is your tightest battle. Can Levine do anything to swipe another position off of Johan here in the closing laps? He might be able to if Johan keeps doing stuff like that.
Yeah, that's gonna give him the spot. And these two teammates competing for 4th are he's gonna have a much easier spot taking it if he keeps sliding around like that.
Johan, wider entry down into 2. Levine keeping it nice and clean around the inside. Ultimately not gaining much ground. Gonna be a little tidier here through the entry of the S's. A little tighter for Justin, maybe gaining a little bit of ground on Johan through that section of the racetrack. Now through the tight interchange to the back straightaway. Still holding it nice and close enough to where we can definitely see Levine making a move by the end of this thing, but just not quite on yet. Not quite up to the back bumper. And first rank with 56, quite enough.
Yeah, he's got a good line, but it's not threat. Oh, there we go. Now he's on it. Now he's a threat. Lock up.
Oh, they're gonna get maybe side by side. Levine and the Ghost. Oh, that's not where the Ghost at. They got to force Levine way out to the outside. Johan getting a way better run through the entry of that corner. Levine gonna get all back over the back bumper as we come down to the second to last corner. Justin just trying to put him off. Oh, that's gonna put him with no idea where he's gonna come back onto the racetrack. I mean, this is such an advantage. I gotta be honest. This is not fun to race against.
Right. Yeah, you got to be able to predict a little bit. You got to be able to see. You got to be able to make that plan. And when you take the whole point of view, when you take that whole point of visual reference away, man, it gets scary. It's just scary.
You almost have to resort to just moving up and asking for forgiveness later, right? Because you're just not going to get by them cleanly without maybe wrecking yourself whenever they're blinking.
Yeah.
Back and forth like that, not being able to know exactly where they are while you're side by side in a tight racetrack like this. Like, you almost just have to move them out of your way and just be like, hey man, you're blinking, I had to do what I had to do.
Yeah, get in there, but get in there clean. You don't want to end his race, obviously, and you very easily could.
Like down to this corner, just push him off the racetrack a little bit. Not to where he's going to spin out, but just push him so far wide that he's just not going to get to your bumper again.
Yeah, that's an art.
These guys continuing to catch up to Kazi. Is it too little too late? Is Kazi just kind of managing now, not trying to push it too hard, so he's giving up, you know, certain groups of time here, just like chilling? Or is Luke Christian actually this much faster than Kazi right now? Because he is flying.
That's a darn good question. He was faster. Yeah, he was faster than Kazi by 0.6 of a second in the last lap, so he's got more speed.
Kazi has slowed down from mid 36s to low to mid 37s for the most part, but now the last couple laps have been high 37s or a 38. So Kazi slowing down significantly, it seems like, over the rest of our top three, because Christian and Hudson both running them down. Coming up to turn number 1, Christian not making a mistake, looks nice and tidy for the 21. He's gonna try to claw that gap down a little bit further. 2 laps to go. Is that enough time?
You know, without a real accident out of Joseph Kazi, no, it's not. Just based on the pacing that we've seen so far, it's not enough time. I've seen some gaps close within like a second, but I've not seen a 2.5, 3 second gap close unless there's been something really bad going on up front.
Kazi is mistaken. Put him under a little
He
pressure.
is.
He sees that gap closing down. Whoa, they caught 2 seconds. Whoa, where did that come from? You never know. You never know. It could get in the back of Kazi's head.
Just got a warning for car 25. That's PB Henry.
We're gonna need a little bit quicker of a final sector here for Christian to really put him under any pressure. He needs this down to like 1.5 as we take the last lap, and he needs a really good turn 1 to kind of put the pressure on Kazi coming around the last few corners here with 2 laps to go. Seeing if he can do anything, claw that gap down at all on Kazi. Might just end up being a night of what could have been for the driver number 21. That left front damage absolutely hindering the driver as we come up to the white flag here tonight from Coda. Tight battle for second, tight battle for fourth. Can we get a tight battle for the lead? It's going to take a mistake out of the driver, the number 88, as we come up to turn 1 for the final time. Kazi getting through there clean, coming over the crest, not losing too much time. As we come up towards the S's for the final time.
And Kazi has learned his lesson on turn 1. As you saw, he got on the braking zone very early, was able to stay clean and tight during that turn. Those S's were picture perfect. He's just going to drive a clean, non-aggressive line. He's got to do it right for this run. He's far enough ahead, he doesn't need to prove himself. He just needs to drive clean.
Kazi coming down to the last few set of corners. 2 seconds over Luke Christian. Chris Hudson doing a great job here in the last stint of this race, getting himself up to the 3rd place position. Had good speed all night long, wasn't quite race winning speed, but he put himself in a position late where he could have capitalized if anything materialized up for the lead. Luke Christian just could not get there. The driver of the number 21 put up a valiant effort, even after sustaining the damage, able to claw his way back up to the 2nd place spot, able to at least put some pressure on the driver of the number 88, but at the end of the day, the driver of the number 88 was just too quick for the rest of the field. Joseph Kazi gonna come through the final quarter here at the Circuit of the Americas, and he's gonna put a stamp on this one. He won stage number 1, he led the most laps, and now Joseph Kazi is your race winner tonight from Coda.
A lovely checkered flag and a big congratulations to Joseph Kazi. 2nd place, it's going to be Luke Christian. 3rd, Chris Hudson for your 1, 2, 3. Whew, everyone's going to be breathing a big old sigh of relief now.
We also had a big battle between Levine and Seminario on that last lap. Seminario had 4th. We're going into the final sector through that tight left hairpin through the arena section. I don't know if maybe we can get a replay, but Levine and Seminario came to blows down to that corner, and Levine ended up getting the best of them, just shoved the 56 wide. He was able to steal the spot off of his teammate, so Levine bumped up to 4th, Johan 5th. PB Henry with a great run in 6th. Pat Harvey, where did he come from? In 7th. Great run from Pat. Kyle Gerlach in 8th. Kevin Zosiak 9th, and Charles Van Schack rounds out the top 10 here tonight.
And he gets a nice long victory lap this time before he's going to burn it down for us right in front of the big grandstands.
Heather, do we have a replay of Johan and Levine on the last lap? They made contact, so we should be able to find it. Gonna check a replay before we get Kazi's little burnout here. Levine and Seminar over the last couple corners. We got the Blinky Boy going again. Levine says, no thank you to Mr. Blinky Boy. Gives him a shot. Coming through the first part of that corner makes Johan run just a little bit wide, able to take fourth place away. So the teammates using the bumpers a little bit, but hey, that's what I said you had to do whenever he's blinking all over the place. Just got to lay the chrome horn down. And Levine was able to take it. Johan not quite able to get back and give him a run for his money in fourth there. But nonetheless, Joseph Kazi, your race winner, finally getting to come down to the front straightaway to burn it down. And like you said, Joe, ridiculously long pace lap or victory lap here. I don't know if he needed to come all the way back around. Could have just stopped up in turn one there, Kazi.
Yeah, it's true. Nothing's saying you have to go all the way around. You could just turn around and come back at that point. They're not going to yell at you after the race is over.
Joseph Kazi is going to win it in that beautiful DeWalt Toyota Camry here tonight from the Circuit of the Americas. And we're going to do a full field rundown as he finishes his burnout here. Joseph Kazi, your race winner. Lou Christian in second. Chris Hudson in third place. Justin Levine fourth. Johan Seminario fifth. PB Henry, Pat Harvey, Kyle Gerlach, Kevin Zosiak, and Charles Van Schack round out the top 10.
Moving on, you got Adam Pettit in 11th, Cody Riggs, Mark Sanchez, Evan Ethel, Art Nicotera in 15th, 16th, Scott Healy, who had a really great race earlier, unfortunately sent back. 16th is Scott Healy, 17th, Rob Besaw, 18th, Kyle Westwood, 19th is Sammy Harrell, and 20th, Christoph Hall. Rounding it out, 21, Reese Schaefer, 22, Jordan Sailors.
So it's going to do it for the full field rundown here tonight. All 22 racers from the Circuit of the Americas. And now we're going to get an opportunity to interview our top three. First, I've got to go down here and find our third place finisher of Chris Hudson and drag him up into our channel. Give him a little talk to, since Chris Hudson continues to impress and continues to finish on the podium. Chris, it was a great run for you tonight. Just kind of consistently grew into that race, it felt like, and it kind of grew with your pace, and also you just kind of had the strategy at the end to get yourself up to the front row. So, what was running through your head on that last caution, and what was the strategy play from there?
Yeah. My approach tonight, as I was trying to minimize mistakes, I think that's what I was trying to do, and I did get a little bit more comfortable at the end. Started picking up a little bit more speed, So that last, that last stint there, Lou and I are teammates, so we were trying to strategize on how we were going to catch Joseph, and I started catching him there a little bit, but I've kind of overheated my tires, so Lou had to go at him, and we were making progress but couldn't quite get there. But yeah, no, super happy with the podium finish, and it was a great race.
Yeah, Chris, you kept it nice and clean the entire time. We were talking big time about the incident limits tonight. How hard was it keeping the car on the racetrack? I know there's a couple nervy moments through the corners, especially like that little changeover to the back straightaway that can just kind of sneak the 1Xs on you. How close were you to that DQ limit, or was it ever in the back of your mind?
It was a little, yeah. I think you can definitely rack them up pretty quickly. I ended up with, I think, about 13, so not ideal, but it made it through the end. So it's just, I mean, these cars are just such a handful. It's so easy to just track a little bit wide, and they really build up fast. So it was something that was a topic of conversation, I think, leading up to it and during the race. So luckily we got through it without getting a penalty.
Well, Chris, congratulations on the top three finish here tonight. Do you have anybody to thank at the end of this one?
Yeah, huge thanks to my teammates. So I've got Lou and Rob, Pat, Chad's not here this week, but always a blast racing with those guys. Huge shout out to the league here, SSRL. It's a great league. Had a lot of fun with this season, and huge shout out to you guys. The broadcast is awesome. Always love going back and watching it. It's always a lot of fun. So appreciate it.
We appreciate the kind words there, Chris. And like I said, congratulations on the top three, and looking forward to seeing if you can do it again next week.
All right, appreciate it.
All righty, that was your third place finisher of Chris Hudson. Next up, we're going to bring up your second place finisher, Lou Christian. He's going to be standing side by side with Joe LaCastro.
Lou Christian, can you hear us?
Yes, sir. You got me?
Yeah, I got you loud and clear. Congratulations on that second place finish, my friend. You were the survivor of the night, and probably one of the best examples of a survivor we had in the race. You started second, you finished second. You were my pick for the race. Let's talk though about the moment that you got your nose, you got your rhinoplasty done. You get your nose cut off by Johan there early on. What was going through your head? Did you think you were done?
I blinked and he was gone, and and I was like, what happened? I had no idea he was doing that. I had no idea. So I don't know. My car never handled perfect after that. I mean, I could still drive it and hit some low lap times, but I couldn't push it if I wanted to, which kind of sucked. I mean, I'll take a second, but I was really trying to push it there on that last stint, but I just couldn't find the grip. Just couldn't find the grip.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about up in the booth. I was giving you the benefit of the doubt, saying he took a pretty good hit, but sometimes that might even help you out. But I think that the other assessment was more accurate. You were just you just couldn't quite push the vehicle back to where you wanted to get it. You had a very fast car tonight too, so very good job on holding on to what you did have there and getting it back up to second place, getting some of those positions back toward the end of the race. Did you think, even with the situation you were in, did you think maybe you had it in you to catch up to Kazi? You were closing the gap.
Yeah, definitely. And what I really wanted to do is get some clean air between me and him, like us starting a long green flag run with him one, me two, or vice versa. But I could always had a car right in the middle, and I never could find that clean air to latch onto him and hit those pace laps that he was running. So I always had to pass somebody to catch him, and by that time he was already 2-3 seconds ahead. But Chris was fast on that last stint, so we was about even. So he didn't slow me down. I don't know how Joseph got 2 seconds in the first like 3 or 4 laps. I don't know if we were just too timid to push the car on cold tires, and he had it in him or what. But yeah, he just got out quicker than everybody else. Then we just kind of even lap times after that.
Well, you sure showed them how it's done tonight. You kept the car under you, even in adverse circumstances. Absolutely great silver medal there. Anyone you want to shout out to or thank tonight?
Just all the teammates, man. We've been running laps, trying to practice some laps and tweak setups here and there, and it's paying off. Hopefully we can. It was good points for Chris there on the teammate to get him some points for this group. Maybe give him a clinch playoff, and then I've got some points making up to do. So we're going for it. Make the playoffs.
Excellent. Well, we're looking forward to seeing you there. Let's Lou Christian, second place. Thank you very much, Lou, for your time. I'm going to pass things back up to Sheldon, and we're going to hear some more. Or, excuse me.
Yeah, you're going to pass them up to Sheldon?
Not to Sheldon.
Is that what you think of me? Is that how little you think of me?
Little, that's how high I put you on a pedestal. I put you on a pedestal.
I can't believe this. I put
you on a pedestal.
Thank goodness I get to toss you over to the side for now so I can interview our race winner, or else I'd blow a gasket. Joseph Kazi, your race winner again here tonight, this time from the Circuit of the Americas. Man, Joseph, it seems like whenever we come to a road course, we better watch out for the 88.
That's right. The 88 was ripping around, like a bald eagle, having the best day of its life, and couldn't ask for anything more.
Okay. Are you that excited over this race win?
It was pretty good. I enjoyed myself. Hey, I just wanted to come in here with high energy. It was a great race. Johan gave me quite a bit of trouble there at the beginning to try to get around him, and the rest of the guys, they kept me in check. I messed up once in front of PB, and other than that, we stayed pretty clean for the whole race. Other than that one little mess up, but everybody kept me in check, and we were able to pull this off.
Hey, Joseph, it felt like you were going to get a pretty big challenge from Lou Christian there, but then he got damage in the middle bit of stage number 2 with it coming together with Johan. Did you feel like he was probably your biggest challenger before then? Because I felt like he was kind of the guy that was kind of giving you heat, and you almost lucked out that he got that damage on the left front.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I did get kind of lucked out there, but I still would have invited the challenge. I would have liked to have known what between me and Lou would have happened, but never really got to fruition to me being close to Lou or me being right together with Lou, But everything else, man, I put it all together. I made little subtle mistakes here and there, and no big ones in it. It all worked out.
Yeah, Joseph, ultimately you had the speed over the course of the entire night. You were lightning quick out there, lap after lap. Like you said, just the one kind of bigger mistake spinning out in turn one, but it was probably the cleanest spin in turn one that we've seen, and it stopped you pointed directly down the hill. So it ultimately didn't hurt you too bad. Not the biggest mistake we saw all night. But Joseph, congratulations on winning tonight from Coda. Do you have anybody to thank at the end of this one?
Gotta thank Keegan Sabila Esports for putting this Ryko Select Club freaking 88 DeWalt up on here. I'll put up on the show. Gotta thank the One Sim guys. Gotta thank the broadcast, and thanks Spark for putting on the show and everything. Had fun, and I was glad to come out here and be able to get this win.
Joseph, thanks for coming up and talking to us. Congratulations on the win again, and thanks for bringing the energy. Because I can't believe you still have any energy after 60 laps around Coda. Like that blows my mind.
My left knee hurts like a muff.
Okay, well, that's your race winner, Joseph Kazi, bringing the heat as usual. But nonetheless, Joe, we actually had a pretty good 60 lap race around here. Typically, I come to road courses and I get a little worried sometimes, but honestly, that was pretty good road course race.
I was a little worried too, man. I think we both had our worries massaged, whatever the right word is. We had them taken care of. We had a great race. It was an exciting race from start to finish. We had 60 laps that we only had a few moments in there where we had maybe a little bit of a breather, but I think that just speaks to the testament of how well these guys drive their cars. And we were under on our estimates on how many DQs we were going to have. So, hey, once again, good job, SSRL.
Can't believe it. I had little faith. Either way, I'm glad that it all worked out. We got a good race here from the Circuit of the Americas, and well, that's going to do it here from us at Grid Vision. So from the entire Grid Vision team, we'd like to thank you for watching and participating in the chat. For more information on getting your league broadcasted or starting your career in broadcasting, contact us on Facebook, X, or email us at info@gridvision.live. Congratulations to Joseph Kazi on winning tonight's race from Coda. This has been Austin Edstrom, standing alongside Joe LaCastro and Taylor Burris. We will see you next time on The Grid.